Welcome to Gumball Love. I'm Melissa Ledger, professional relationship coach, creator of Gumball Love and the Back to You Academy. If you're ready to stop the cycle of toxic men, get through the breakup once and for all, and finally get back to you, you are in the right place. This journey is about healing your heart, and you are encouraged to take the pace that is just right for you. In the process, you will build a foundation of confidence and strength that will make you unshakable, I promise. So get ready to level up your mindset and your lifestyle as you awaken the seeds of greatness just waiting to burst into full bloom. Let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of Gumball Love. I'm your host, Melissa Ledger, here to teach you how to stop the cycle of sugar high romance, discover your worth, and find true love. All right, today I'm going to attempt the fast and quick tips on red flags when you're out on a date. Online dating, so in person, because people are starting to get back out in person more than ever. So thank God we're getting back to normal finally. You can actually see these guys live and up close. And I want to help you figure this out so you're not sitting there like, is this a good guy? Should I have paid more attention to that? Or when they say something and you're like, okay, should I be mad about that? Or is that gross? Or is that what they're supposed to do? And you have that good conversation going, and then they're like, okay, what does this mean? Because it so sucks when you think, oh, this guy is cute, and then he kind of buzzkills, and you're sitting there like, I don't know what to do. So I just sounded exactly like one of my aunts doing that with that voice. We have a lot of voices in my family that we use. All right, so let's talk about the player. If you're on a date with a player, what does that look like? What does that sound like? All right, here's the hard part about the player. If he's good, you don't know he's a player. And he's going to sound nice. He's going to sound normal. One of my favorite exes, he was a good player. And he actually would date a lot of girls, but then when he fixated on one, then every other girl became less important. So I remember dating him when I was the less important, and then the one he zeroed in on. So he was a chase me gumball guy. And then once he decided, okay, now I want to focus on her, it was all about me. And so we're kind of used to this player being like somebody that is playing the field, right? And he's dating all these other girls, but sometimes that's not the case. And so what I want you to think about with Gumball Love, and when I'm researching this or brainstorming this with anyone and they try to pigeonhole, this is where like my significant other and I, we're so funny. Like, some of our arguments are literally about Gumball Love content. And I'm just like, are we in a fight about Gumball Love content? It's so funny. I'd be like, but don't you think it's this? Well, wait, but doesn't, I'm like, no, you can't pigeonhole him, because I don't want you to ever say a gumball guy is always or he never, because there are so many weird combinations of attention seeking that can be a different recipe. And I'm working on a quiz that I'll release probably within the next few months, that you'll be able to take the quiz and see what are the gumball flavors that I'm experiencing. So if it's a player, I want you to think of it this way. When I'm talking to this guy, how do I feel? Do I feel super sexy? Do I feel irresistible? Do I feel powerful? Do I feel like do I feel very in touch with my sensual side? And because we talk a lot about the guy who sends the dick pic. Okay. I mean, that's the obvious, that's an obvious red flag. So if you respond to the dick pic, then your self-esteem is a direct reflection. Like, we don't respond to that. If we're responding to that, we know that then we become desperate for that attention. I know he sent me a dick pic, but maybe he's a good guy. Like, if we're in that place, please book a session with me, because I want to talk to you. And I do talk to a lot of girls in that situation where it's like, well, I know we sent a dick pic, but then we had this really good conversation after that. Okay, well, excluding that guy for a second, and let's just go with the guy that you have somewhat of a good conversation with. But somehow it's always coming back to that sensuality a little bit. Or maybe it's a lot, but he's doing it in kind of a classy way where he's developed enough rapport with you, and it can come out like, wow, I'm just not usually as open with people like I am with you. This is kind of freaking me out to have this kind of connection this quickly. So, wow, this is quite unusual. Is this unusual for you? You know what I mean? Like when the guy with the luscious lips and the Edward Cullen hair is saying these things, it's like, yeah, I haven't felt like this before. Even though you could have felt like that 2 weeks ago with a different Gumball guy, it's still extremely powerful. So you don't have to be overanalyzing in the moment, but I want you to just ask yourself, am I really feeling sensual with this guy more than I'm feeling interesting, or I'm feeling heard, seen, valued? Okay. So if you're feeling sensual because you've got the chemistry, right? So this is why the player only can play if the vibes are there, right? So there's got to be spark there. Otherwise the conversation, it's a moot point, right? So, or a moo point, as Joey Tribbiani would say. But yeah, it's like, it's irrelevant. So we have to assume that when we're interacting with a player and we're liking it and we're trying to decide if he's a player and if I need to be looking at red flags, you're going to be deciphering this while you're feeling heat, intensity, spark, attraction, and you're starting to get hazy and fuzzy. And yes, I'm feeling sensual, but then you'll be in that place where you're like, but Melissa, is that bad to feel shouldn't I feel sensual? Because we're trying to hold on to that guy who's making us feel all of those things. So the arouse me guy, who is the player, he's all about sex. It comes back to sex. You have amazing lips. You have a beautiful smile. Not that a nice guy is not going to say you have a beautiful smile, but self-respecting dudes don't typically enter a conversation or they take a woman out. And let me tell you, the transition from Gumball guy to good guy is a lot of times girls are like, I didn't even know if this guy was interested in me. And it's like, I know, because when you're being respected, it looks and feels, it doesn't feel intense. It feels nice, but it's like, what is going on here? When I reconnected with my significant other, I was like looking at our text conversations like, are we just talking about current events? You know, like, is he going to flirt with me? Like, what's happening? And we were just getting to know each other. And I prayed about it, and I got this feeling of, take your hands off the wheel. Stop trying to drive it. Stop trying to make something happen faster than you want it to. Just talk to him. You know you like him. You know you're attracted to him. So let's just let the conversation naturally happen because I was trying to maybe even put in a quarter to get a gumball. Like I was like, is there spark? Is there attraction? Not understanding fully, just because he was not leading with sensuality at all. We were getting to know each other, getting to know beliefs and values. And that was really exciting to him because he hadn't been able to connect with a girl like me on all those different levels. So having someone actually fall for who you are versus your sexy lips and your pretty smile and your amazing teeth and, you know, how good you smell and how great your booty looks in those jeans, you know, like those are all fun things, and that comes later. It's not that that's not present, but I want you to just, instead of trying to look for red flags, I'm giving you a little bit of the other side. Do you feel sensual? Okay. And by that, I mean, if you're feeling like, ooh, I feel very desired, I feel very sexy, I feel irresistible, then he is keen in on those things that are bringing that part of you forward, so that then you're all hot and bothered, and then you end up having sex, and then all of a sudden he's not interested, or he's ghosting, or then it becomes chase me. Then you feel like oh wait, we had this great date and we had sex, and then it's like, why did I have sex with him? Did I fall for a player? So the best thing to do is not have sex right away. That way, you know, okay, I'm being pursued. Maybe he is sexually attracted to me. Maybe he is a little more sensual, but you can give it more time. And the key with a gumball guy is he wants to get high right away. So if you don't get him high, he will lose interest, and you have to be okay with him losing interest. Because if he loses interest because you're not getting him high, he's not into you, he's just in the highs. Give me the gumball. Oh, I can't get, this is kind of taking too long. I was, trying to get you all hot and bothered, but you're all hot and bothered yet. I can't get that gumball. So now I'm irritated, which brings me to the next one. So when we go to the drama king, the guy that wants a fight, obviously, in your initial interaction, a lot of times it doesn't show up like a fight. It shows up as maybe kind of I bet you're a prude. You look like you might be a prude. And then it gets you to be like, I'm not a prude. And you have that little no, I'm not. When you're talking to a guy like that, he's like, ooh, yeah, give me some drama. So what does that feel like on the positive side? It feels like, ooh, there might be some passion. It's passionate. I used to think this was like, oh, that's witty banter. There's chemistry here because we can already kind of go there and it feels comfortable. You know why it felt comfortable to me? So I had a whole family of fighters and we argued incessantly growing up. And so a guy that was edgy and kind of gave me some shit, so to speak, wasn't offensive to me, and it should have been, but I didn't understand. And so I would be like, no, I'm not. And I would argue, or I would try to convince him, which is the other gumball. Let me convince you while you get me a little bit fired up. Fire and passion while I'm trying to win. Now I'm trying to win him over while he's getting me all fiery. Add a little bit of sensuality and he's got you. Now he's got you going. That's how he's putting in those quarters. Okay, so number 3 is the entertain me gumball guy. He's the brat. He is the one that he's having the banter with you. And I was thinking of this scenario. If you ever met a guy and he starts texting you, but he's out somewhere, like he might be out at the bar and he's like, hey, how you doing? You're good. How are you doing? Oh, I'm just out with the guys. We're watching the game. Or he's somewhere where he's interacting with other people, somewhere where he could be meeting other women. So let's say he's at the bar. So he's talking with you and then he's MIA for like 20 minutes. Then he comes back. And so you feel like, and then he comes back and he doesn't address or answer the things that you just said. He skips over or doesn't even acknowledge them. So when he doesn't acknowledge what you're saying, he's reading a text and then choosing not to respond to what you've texted. So that provokes the thing in you that wants to entertain. So when he puts in the quarter and like he changes the subject to something that he wants to talk about, and when you allow it and you engage in it and then he responds positively to that, guess what you feel? You feel like, oh, he likes me. I'm exciting. So when you are with a guy and you're like, how do I feel? I feel fun. I feel exciting. I feel like he likes me. But what's really happening is he likes you when you produce the entertain me gumball. Entertain me. Oh, that's an entertaining gumball. I like that. Now I'm going to engage. But when you give him something that isn't a gumball to him and he's not engaged, that's when you feel like I'm not exciting. So I want you to ask yourself, how do I feel on this date? Do I feel like he's engaged? Do I feel like he's interested in what I'm saying? Can we talk about various things and he stays engaged in multiple topics? Or do I feel like I hit and miss? So you go from feeling exciting and fun to kind of like he's losing. You're like, oh, I'm losing him. What's going on? And I used to feel tired inside. So sometimes I wanted to give you a different way other than to look at it from a red flag perspective. Like, do I feel sensual? Do I feel like there's a bunch of passion here? Do I feel like, ooh, he thinks I'm really exciting or this is really fun? Do you notice how all these are intense emotions, sensual, passionate, exciting? Or let's go with number 4. And I know I've changed these a few times, but number 4 was the win me gumball. It used to be compete with her for me. We changed it back to compete for me. So I'll update that, but just in the process of writing and working with an editor, the gumball isn't winning him. It's the competition for him. And so I want you to ask yourself, do you feel like you are, so if you know about another woman, let's say he's, I'm kind of dating someone, but I really like you. Now he's taking a risk to talk to you. So you feel like, ooh, I might be hotter than her. Is that the high? Is that what you're feeling? Because I was trying to come up with something that encompassed compete for me when we're having fun with it. And the song that came to my mind was, Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me? But actually the lyrics of that song end up being like, you need to move on. You need to be with her because, but it's kind of, I bet you wish your girlfriend was hot like me. I bet you wish she was fun like me. So you kind of have that feeling like you're super hot, and it gives you that I'm the desirable one. He's going to take a risk. It's super secretive. And you feel like, ooh, then there's all the lust that comes with it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so into you. And I don't know about her now. And maybe he could even be married. And this is, it's not the most attractive, but let's face it, a lot of people have been it. I've done it. So I'm not here to judge anyone. It's just the reality of when you are caught up with somebody who's in a relationship or they're married, there is a high. So all that sexual tension gets turned way up. And this happened to me in my early 20s. It was a guy that was way older than me. I think he was like 15 years older than me. He was married. And I've probably told you guys this story in different podcasts. But, I wasn't actually really attracted to him. But he was older and he was really wealthy and he was really successful. And then all of a sudden he revealed he had this massive crush on me. And I hadn't really had much dating experience. So all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, this guy's I'd never had someone pursue me like that in my life. And my first reaction was, you're married, you got to go. Oh, here came the flowers and here came the cards. And then he would come over randomly and I'd be like, oh my God, what is like, and I interpreted that as he wants me so bad that I must be like, I started feeling like super sexy and really hot and like, oh my God, this is all the risk and the secretiveness. And then it was really gross feeling too. And so there's that forbiddenness and no, we can't do this. And then, oh, here he is again. And oh my God, what do we do? You know what I'm saying? That's the high. There's a high in feeling that high sense of desire. And my love brought up a very good point about compete for me. A guy who wants you to compete with another woman for him he has to express feelings for you very early on. He can't have a normal courting process because that takes too long. So he's going to be like immediate attraction to you. And then you find out there's somebody else. And it's like, okay, now what? And that's a whole nother podcast. But in the spirit of looking for red flags, is there someone else? How am I feeling? Am I getting all high on the risk, on the secrets, on the lust, feeling like I might be hotter than her? Because then we're not focused on the actual person, the actual relationship, building a foundation. See how all these highs and gumballs can start to feel like super exciting, and then the real deal starts to look really boring. And it's actually not at all. In fact, the longer I'm with the love of my life, it's like our relationship continues to expand and grow because we grow together. When you find the right person that really understands you and you can express yourself fully, why it's so important to be expressing yourself fully before you meet at the fullest expression you possibly can, so that when you're reuniting, you're not hidden. You don't want to be hidden. You want to be all out there. And I'll tell you, when we met, I was like, these are my political beliefs. These are my religious beliefs. Like, I was at the point where like, dude, I like you. I know you came back into my life, but here's the thing. I was kind of like, I'm laying it on the line, and none of it scared him. In fact, we bonded over those things because we were so aligned, but I was fully expressed because I didn't want to get caught up in, I really like you and you're super cute and I'm really attracted to you, but I'm not going to change who I am and I'm not going to pretend I'm someone I'm not. And I had that confidence. But if we don't come in with that confidence, we miss red flags because we don't really know who we are. We don't know what we're looking for. And I'm telling you what, you really don't have to focus on red flags if you know what you're looking for, which is also another podcast. Do not get distracted, Melissa. Okay. Next thing, pity me. So am I talking to a victim? I was telling my love, like, he's like, how does pity me guy show up? I'm like, well, pity me guy doesn't always show up like a sad schmuck. I mean, he shows up as, I dated a pity me guy, showed up, dressed nice, had a nice conversation, very pleasant. We had coffee and I thought, oh, that's a really nice guy. I didn't hear all the poor me stuff until I got invested. And then it became more and more poor me, poor me. So sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes this takes time. Please give yourself grace. You're not a mind reader. What are you going to do? Do a background check and, call his friends and family and his exes and, do a debrief? Like, it's impossible to know everything all up front. But here's how you know you might be with someone who is wanting pity from you. You feel needed. You might feel like his savior or you feel like his hero. Thank you so much. You're doing all these things for me. And you are pep talking him, helping him, doing all the things for him. And it feels wonderful to feel needed. However, is that what's primarily there? You start to feel sorry for someone and you start to help someone and they really are responsive to that. That can be addictive. So I'm giving you the positive side of like how we feel when we're initially seeing him high off of the gumball. Like, what does that look like? And so that looks like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that happened to you. So are you okay? Well, yeah, this and that happened. And then you're holding hands and you're giving a hug and maybe he even gets emotional and then you share that moment. And then you feel like, oh, now I feel close to you and I understand you. And that does happen in good relationships, but is the guy always or frequently coming back to that? Usually it's like, and there's combinations of these different flavors. So every guy is not one flavor. They can be all 8, or they can be 5 out of 8, or they can be 2. It just depends. And that's what I want you to get good at. What is this guy? Do I feel like I need to entertain him? Do I feel exciting and fun sometimes? And do I feel really boring other times? Does he seem to kind of always sort of, I don't know, get me a little bit irritated, nitpicky, where I kind of feel like I'm bantering or arguing with him? We get in little fights or we get in big fights. Is everything always about sex? Is he always very sensual? How am I feeling around him? Number 6, the idolize me guy. So idolize me guy is the rock star. He's the former politician, for the musician, or he could just be a guy that used to be the captain of the football team in high school. And now he's a has-been. There was a former Nebraska football player. He was a major player, probably one of the biggest stars in Nebraska football. Years ago, we're standing in a bar and way before Gumball Love. And, I knew who he was, but I just wasn't falling all over him. And so he looked at me and he was like, do you know who I am? And I thought, oh my God, really? Yes, you are a big football star, but you have to ask me. And so I just was like a total smart ass. I was like, no, I don't know who you are. He just stared at me. And it was so funny because behind him were giant framed pictures of a very famous play he did. All the people in Nebraska probably know who I'm talking about. And, I was just like, whatever, dude, if you have to, don't you know who I am? It's like, I'm not giving that gumball. I didn't even give the gumball before. The one time I didn't give the gumball, I was just like, no, I'm not giving you the gumball. But here he was done playing football and he's standing around in bars being like, idolize me, I'm so important. However, if I wanted to be his girlfriend, what's the high off of that? I feel important. Ooh, I'm dating the former so-and-so. That gives me status. It gives me importance. And it also makes me feel like I'm chosen by this guy. So that must make me pretty cool if out of all the girls, he chooses me. So that idolize me guy, he might have some notoriety in some way, either current or former. And it can be, yes, he could, or some kind of celebrity status. He could be an Instagram influencer. So he's not known by the general public, but he might have a pretty significant following. So he has whatever that is, being around him can feel exciting. So does it feel exciting to be around him? And do you feel important? Do you feel like, but at the same time, are you are you being acknowledged if he's getting attention? So idolize me guy might take you to a place where a lot of people know him. And if enough people are talking to him or telling his war stories or remembering all of his exciting times, then you might sit at a table and and he might even notice you for, 30 minutes. Remember in the movie, or no, it wasn't a Sex and the City show where she was dating the Russian and he was like, please come with me to my art installation opening. And they were in Paris and she was in the outfit. She had a prior engagement. She had a little book party at the restaurant, but he was like, please come with me. I need you there. As soon as he saw, so she goes to the art exhibition. She's holding his hand. He didn't know what they were going to say. It was like the pre-show before they opened it up to the public. And they started applauding him when he walked in. And the second he got praise from the group, the camera zeroes in and he lets go of her hand and walks toward them. And pretty soon she's just sitting there on the bench, not being completely ignored because he used her until he got enough praise and then he didn't need her anymore. And then she sat there and she was looking through her purse and she found the necklace that said Carrie on it. And it reminded her of who she was. And then she raced to her book event, which everyone had already left because it took so long. It ruined it for her. But, it was like one of those moments like, what am I doing? I should be with my people. He's not the end all be all. So I'm going to go and choose myself. But she felt important being associated with him. So important that he swept her off her feet enough to where she just left her job, left New York, left her computer on the bed. I mean, what can happen to us with an idolize me guy, with the rock star, the celebrity? Maybe we should change his name to the celebrity. I think maybe I like celebrity better. Let me know. Do you like the rock star or do you like the celebrity? Where he's a celebrity in his own mind or he's a celebrity in real life, but being associated with him, we can get caught up and not realize you're not actually being seen, heard, and valued. So number 7, chase me. How does it feel to be with a chase me guy? So when you're chasing chase me guy, or we call him the bachelor, where you're hoping he gives you the final rose, which is actually kind of what it feels like. You feel like you're chasing this guy who has all these other options. It's the guy that is, not every chase me guy is good looking, but let's face it, he's good. He can be, sometimes I've gotten caught up with a chase me guy and then you look at their profile and you're like, what was the big deal about this guy? Like, why was I so caught up in it? So they they have the scarcity feeling like I'm really busy. I don't have a lot of time. I'm very active on this dating app and, I like you, but I'm not, he's elusive. He's mysterious. So the mystery allows us to make up stories about what's actually going on because he does just enough to reel you in, but not enough to contribute to your life, not enough to make it a meaningful interaction. So Chase Me Guy is exciting because Hollywood gives us insight. When there's a player or a bachelor that is on TV, we see into his life and they show us he's this good guy underneath and we see his problems and he magically works them all out and chooses the girl in the end. And that is the fairy tale part of it. But I want you to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Is it unsolved mysteries time and I'm sitting over coffee or wine with my girlfriend and being like, okay, this is what he texted me about. Like, what do you think this means? What is this about? If you're trying to always solve the mystery, you're always trying to decode the text. If he's sending you cryptic messages, it's a chase me guy, but it's exciting because there's a fantasy of being chosen by him. And the mystery is he really does like me. That's why he keeps coming back. And that's why it perpetuates this feeling of excitement that really shouldn't be there. Because if you knew what was actually going on behind the scenes with this guy, it's not that exciting at all, I guarantee you. I've found out so many times what was actually going on versus what I thought. And I was like, oh my God, I would just romanticize the whole thing. All right, number 8, convince me guy, the skeptic. When you're on a date with a skeptic, you're into him. You like him, but if he leads with this gumball, prove yourself. Come on, convince me. I'm the skeptic. I don't know. do you really think people fall in love? Do you really think it's real? And you're like, oh yeah, well, how can you don't believe in love? How come you're so cynical? Have you always been this cynical? Were you hurt in the past? All of a sudden it's like, are you selling yourself? Are you feeling excited because he seems like he might be getting convinced that maybe you're worth another date? He's like, maybe I kind of like her. And the high of a skeptic is I'm winning him over, and I will be the exception to the rule because I am the hottest girl. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Like you start feeling these feelings and they're highs. This is the fantasy high. So am I winning him over? The mystery of the chase. Oh my gosh, I'm with Mr. Celebrity. Oh, I'm saving the little victim pity guy and I'm doing all these things for him. And when he sees how amazing I am because I'm doing all these things, I am a girl that goes above and beyond, then and only then he will see that I'm the one for him. Or he's with another woman and she's, I'm hotter than her and he's taking all these risks and then he's going to realize I'm the one. He's going to choose me and he's going to break up with her and then we're going to end up together and it's going to be so amazing. Or I'm with entertain me guy and, he's bored. Oh, wait, he's into me. Oh, he thinks I'm fun. I'm exciting. Or fight me guy. Ooh, he's passionate. He's giving me witty banter. Ooh, he's kind of edgy. Do I like edgy? I think I like edgy. He's nice, but he's kind of like, can you just hear yourself? I've said so many of these things. Like he brings out my sensual side. I haven't felt sensual like this. I feel so sexy. I feel so powerful. I feel irresistible. Oh my gosh, he's like eating out of my hand. Highs, 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 highs. Are they building friendship? Like, it's so funny, like, all of the things that you need in a healthy, secure relationship. We want to get married. We want the guy to love us for who we are. And the guy that will build the foundation with you, he's wearing a hard hat, work boots, and you're going to sit and have real conversation. And what does it look like when you build a foundation? Have you ever watched, if you have built a home, I've built 2 homes, and the foundation is kind of a boring part. Now, I'm not saying the beginning of my relationship was not boring. It just was like, I remember having moments of, he would send me these messages. We'd be talking about something political or something where we were expressing our values. And he's such an eloquent writer. And he would rate these blocks of text where it was like, oh, this is just, he would be appalled by something and then he would express his beliefs. And it was just like, oh, wow, this guy has such strong values and morals and he's so good and like so strong in his convictions and he's not afraid to say what he feels. And I remember feeling like, this is such the man, this is what I need. It really, like, every time he would express himself in that way, it would be like, this is what I need right here. And they weren't highs in the sensuality, passionate, exciting, feeling desired. I didn't feel like a savior or a hero. He didn't give me any importance or status. There was no mystery. I wasn't decoding texts. I didn't feel like I had to do anything to win him over. So when I I'm looking at all these on my wall here. I'm looking at all the exciting parts of the Gumball Guy, the red flags of the Gumball Guy. When you're with somebody that's actually taking a real interest in you, the highs are different. They're not as extreme, yet they're really meaningful, and they lay huge brick foundations. It's like, I'm pouring the concrete because now we can really build on this foundation. It's really, I see sometimes we'll get in arguments, we don't agree on something, and then we're able to have discussions. And even when we disagree pretty heavily, it always stays respectful, and he's just steady. Like he's just not getting, he doesn't get out of control. And so I'm not used to that. I'm used to that fight me, drama. But I shouldn't say I'm not used to that. I wasn't used to that before, but I did the work, guys. I did the work. I went to therapy. I became obsessed with learning, like, how does this all work? And so my goal is to package this fast, quick, easy for you so you can get it in bite-sized pieces and keep putting it together. And so you don't have to unravel it like I feel like I did. So let me just, the therapy part where you're working on your past and your wounds of childhood and traumas, those take time. But it doesn't have to be like, I have to fully heal from all of that. And by the way, get the book, How to Do the Work. by Dr. Nicole LePera. Oh my God. If you want to expedite your healing, if you want to know why you're doing weird stuff or you're reacting and you're doing something where it's like, why am I feeling this emotional about it? She gets to the heart of it. Like if I could have had that book in combination with actual therapy, it would have been like, it gets to the root of it right away. And just reading the words, just having the awareness and the understanding, it was like, I remember I was just reading it before bed and I told my significant other, like, oh man, that was a tough one to read. And he's like, what happened? I explained it to him and he's like, oh yes. And we had this nice conversation, just laying there, like talking through healing. And so you'll be able to continue to heal with your partner, but you want to pick somebody who's calm, who's not like, hey, let me focus on fighting with you, or just about sex, or you entertaining me with exciting conversation, or, oh yeah, I really like you, but let me introduce this other chick you're going to compete with, or let me give you my pity party for the next 6 months so you can waste your life. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need all that. You want to be able to come into the picture where, and we all know when we're ready to date and when it's too soon, because you get the feeling in your gut, like, do I want to do this, or am I doing it because I feel pressure to be with somebody? So if you're going on and you're like, I need to get pregnant, I need to have a baby, and everyone else is married and I'm not, that's not the reason you go online dating. Go online dating when you're like, okay, I feel like I'm not perfect, I'm working through things, but I'm at a point where I feel like I am proud of my life, I'm feeling good in my body, and I like my hair. I know this is the way I want to wear my hair. And when I get dressed, I feel like, yes, this is me. And the car that I'm driving feels like it's me. And my decor feels aligned with who I am. So when you're walking through your life, your job, even your notebooks, your pens, your wallet, your sunglasses, like, is this you? Or is it who you want other people to make you be? And try to work through a lot of those things. And that's also another podcast. But I want you to not approach, everybody always wants to know red flags. So we'll title this podcast about red flags because that's what people want to know. But red flags are too obvious. And if we're looking for a red flag, we're probably missing a ton of yellow ones. So the red flag is, here's my dick pic. I mean, that's a red flag, but we may not feel like it's a red flag where the main feeling of the interaction with him is a connection to your sensuality. Is that really what I should be feeling? When in doubt, if you know any little girl, the littler she is, the better. And you think about, what do I want her to feel when she grows up and the man of her dreams is interacting with her? Or she's not even the man of her dreams. She's interacting on dates. Think of a little girl right now that you know that is like somebody you really care about. Maybe it's your daughter. Maybe it's your little cousin. Maybe it's your friend's daughter, whatever. Just picture somebody and you think, okay, what do I want a guy to see in her? Do you want him to be thinking about having sex with her? No, you do not. Does that mean he sees her value? No, it does not. You know what I mean? When you put it in that frame, like, oh, I want my friend's daughter to grow up and then have some guy talking to her about how sexy her lips are. That is not seeing someone and valuing them and respecting them. And so when you put it in that frame, then you ask yourself, so why am I with some guy who's focusing on how sexy my lips are instead of finding out what's going on in my brain and how my heart is and if I'm a giving and loving person? It's like, those are the things. It doesn't mean he's not thinking of sex. I mean, look, we're human beings, but you know what I'm saying? It's not where, yes, he will be sexually attracted to you. However, he's not going to be so impatient to get to that he's going to skip over getting to know you. The Gumball Guy is skipping the work. He's like, we don't need that foundation. Let's just put up the frame right now and try to maybe hang some sheets and we'll make the room and we'll pretend we're in the house. It's like, it doesn't work that way, because when the storms come, it knocks that house over. It's so easy. If you start building the house out of order, it doesn't stay up. But if the foundation is solid, then you can weather a lot of things and you're not going to move. You're going to be able to take some beatings. Like, look, every relationship, every day I start to see when people say, yeah, I guess I can see why some people say relationships are hard or you have to push through. You don't always feel the same all the time. Like, I'll be amazed, especially with the female hormonal cycle. Sometimes you're just like, the other 2 nights ago, I was just arranging the sheets for bed, and I felt like, oh my God, I just love him so much. Like, I was having one of those overwhelmed with gratitude feelings, but it just doesn't feel like that every second of the day, right? And I was just like laughing to myself to think, like, what happens to us in moments where it just overwhelms us? And then you could be having PMS, but you're like, I'm so irritated right now, So you have to be solid and know who you are and know that this relationship is the one for you, because as you go through the ebbs and flows, your boss pisses you off, you're annoyed, you're stressed out. Sometimes when I'm stressed out, I start piling the stress on to all the other parts of my life. And then it's like, okay, wait a minute. What am I doing here? Go back to gratitude. What am I grateful for? All the things that we do to reground. So we can't be building a relationship off of gumball highs. Because at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of chewed up pieces of gum, and it doesn't build anything beautiful. So let me know what you think, because this is what we're probably going to call the flavors of fantasy. The fantasy of the idea of how we feel when we're with the player or the drama king or the rock star, the celebrity or the bachelor or the skeptic or the cheater, how it feels to be around these kinds of guys, and when it's good and when the high is there. I want you to associate those feelings and then walk away and just take a mental note. How did I feel in this state? What was I going through emotionally? And you can just make a note of it. Doesn't mean you have to make any decisions, but just kind of be like, okay. Kind of like when we're eating and we go, am I still hungry or am I full? Can I sit and think about how I feel instead of just eating because there's food on my plate? So how am I feeling about this date? Am I excited because I feel sensual and passionate? Or am I excited because I feel like there's something deeper and more meaningful here? And maybe you don't know right now, and that's okay. Just do the best you can and then do the next interaction, go on the next date, and see how you feel from there. So I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more information or to schedule a private coaching session, or better yet, to join the next Back to You Academy, go to gumballlove.com. If you loved this podcast, I would love for you to share it with your friends. And if you really loved it, a 5-star review is the best compliment you can give. Remember, you are enough, you are right where you should be, and the only thing you have to do is keep going. I'll leave you with my favorite quote by Henry David Thoreau. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you have imagined. Until next time, I'll see you soon.